caramel candy.
Hello, welcome back to our channel. It's Laura, if you don't know, and we have Lily.
Lee.
So,
It's Lee.
Lee, as he said, today Lee will be bringing to you some turkey wings. We're getting close to the holidays, so we're going to go ahead and toss up some turkey wings. And work with us, because here we go. Like and subscribe. Push that like button on our channel.
Alright. Today I got 4 nice large turkey wings. I've already cleaned them. As you can see, they're pretty nice and large. Turkey wings, there's 4 of them. I cleaned them and then I dredged them with a little bit of EVO. I dredged them with a little olive oil and rubbed them down with a little olive oil. Now I'm going to season them. Some of the things I'm going to be using to season them today is going to be onion powder,
Bring you some
a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of poultry season, a little bit of seasoning salt, and I'm going to be hitting that with a little bit of Lipton onion soup mix. I'm going to turn those over, skin side up.
If you would like a request for us to cook something, please leave a comment below and we'll go ahead and cook it for you. We just got a request to cook some spaghetti.
And I'm going to hit the other side with the same items, some poultry seasoning, onion powder, black pepper seasoning salt, and Lipton onion soup mix. And some Lipton onion soup. Go ahead and dump all the flavoring in there. And now I'm going to hit that with about a half a cup of water. You can use chicken base or chicken stock if you like. In fact, I think I will do that. I'm going to use some chicken stock instead of water. What I have here, you probably haven't seen this before. I just seen it today myself, so I thought I'll try it. Bumblebee, the same people that make the tuna, has made their own chicken broth. So I'm going to try that chicken broth in here today and see how that works. I'm just going to add that can of chicken broth to that instead of using water. Let's allow all those flavors to just steam up into that turkey. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover that with aluminum foil. I'm going to put that in an oven at about 375 degrees for about 2 hours. And then I'm going to come back. I'm going to remove the foil, allow them to brown on the top a little bit more. And then I'm going to make a gravy out of all the juice that it creates. And when I get to that gravy portion, I'll show you how that's done. So there you have it. You have 4 large turkey wings seasoned up in the chicken broth, well seasoned, 350 degree oven, 2 hours. I'll show you what this looks like when I come back. We're going to go ahead and get that in there and get it started. And I'll be checking on you in about 2 hours. Okay. While we're waiting on that turkey to cook, I'm going to be doing some sweet potato patties. We're going to try these sweet potato patties out. I haven't tried these before, but I'm going to try them today. I'm going to cook them the same way I cook sweet potatoes. What I have here is a pan, aluminum pan. I put a little bit of butter in the bottom. I'm going to add a little bit more in a minute, and a little bit more on the top, as I show you how I'm going to turn these into like a sweet potato. Same way you would do a caramelized sweet potato, I'm going to do the same thing with these here. I'm going to place these puppies in the pan right there, as you can see. And then I'm going to take some country crop. You can use butter or country crop. In order to make caramel on sweet potatoes, it's made out of sugar and butter. That's how you make caramel. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit of butter on top of each one of these. Just a little spread on top of each one. Okay, and then I'm going to just put a few little pieces around in the pan. So we have that there. Okay, now I'm going to hit that with a little bit of cinnamon. There we go. I'm going to hit that with a little bit of cinnamon. There we go. Hit that with a little hint of clove because it gives it that, it kicks that cinnamon taste up a little bit. Let's have some here already. A little bit of nutmeg. Just a little pinch of nutmeg. That nutmeg flavor really comes up when that caramel starts to cook. Just for a little bit of extra flavor that comes up in the air, I'm going to hit that with just a little bit of vanilla extract. Just a little sprinkle. Bing, 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 bing. There we go. A few little drops in there of that. And now I'm going to add the brown sugar. And I'm going to hit that with just a little sprinkle of white sugar on top of the brown sugar. And that should make a really nice caramel. So we're going to use here some dark brown sugar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle this all across the top of this. You can be a little generous with it. You don't have to be skimpy with it. It's going to actually make a nice caramel. There you have it. Put brown sugar on top of there. And I'm going to hit that with just a little bit of white sugar. There you go. We have brown and white sugar. And the butter, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and a little bit of vanilla. And that's what it looked like. About to go into the oven. I'm going to cover it because I really want that I really want that caramel to start cooking into those potatoes. And I'll come back and show you what that looked like in about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, you know the turkey's on for 2 hours, so while I'm waiting for the turkey to cook, I'm going to go ahead and make a few different side dishes. And I'll be back with the next one. I'm going to pop that in the oven on that same 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. And I'll come back and let you see what that looks like. All right. It's been about a good 15, 20 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and get these sweet potatoes out. I'm going to uncover that. And that's what they look like. You notice, see how the syrup is already forming from that brown sugar and white sugar in that butter? It's turning into its own syrup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these over, but I'm going to put them back in so the other side can just get a slight brown, and the rest of that looseness can tighten up just a little bit more, so there's a real good syrup on that. See all that syrup is just hanging on there and dripping off just like real yams, or just like regular yams.
And this is so that, you know, a lot of folks go to the store and they see these yams already in the freezer, and a lot of people don't purchase them because they don't know how to cook them. So with the coronavirus out now, a lot of parents are home who have to do their own Thanksgiving cooking. And they're not going to the loved one's house because it's not safe. So these are little menus that you can do at home with your family on a budget.
And look at that. Nice and sticky, icky, just like regular old sweet potatoes.
And they taste great.
And I'm going to put them back in to let them go a little bit longer without any foil on them. Meanwhile, the turkey is still working. It's going to be a while for that, but I'll come back at you with that as soon as I get to that point. Okay, those yams been back in the oven for about another 6-7 minutes. I'm going to pull them out of here. As you can see, you can get a good look at that. You can see all the bubbling syrup from the brown sugar, and the yams are perfectly sweetened. I'm going to just go ahead and cover them because we're not going to eat them right yet. We still got to wait for the rest of the dinner. But they're done. And that's what they look like. Meanwhile, put a small pot of rice on. You always put the water about 1.5 to 2 inches, well, 1.5 over top of the rice. And then you bring it to a boil. Then you reduce the heat, cover it with a lid, and let it go ahead on and steam itself out. So that's what's going on there. Meanwhile, the turkey is still doing its thing. The turkey's going to be a good while. We still got about another 1.5 hours almost on that turkey. But we're going to let that go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and take this rice that I have on here already. And I'm going to, it's already come up to a nice little small boil. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the heat down to about 2.5. And I'm going to cover it with a lid. And we're going to let that go ahead and reduce all the liquids out of it. And then I'll take it down to its lowest form and let it finish drying out. And when I get done with that, I'll be back because I'm going to show you how to make some turkey gravy out of the juice from the turkey. And we're going to show you how to put this meal together in a little bit. I'm going to also do some sauteed vegetables. And we'll show you what this dinner looks like at the end. See you in a minute. Okay. That turkey's been in there for use that juice to make my gravy. Let's just take a look and see what this turkey wings look like. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. You can see that they're starting to fall apart, which means the turkey meat is done. But I like to have my turkey nice and brown. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the juice off this turkey. So we'll heat it. Take all that good juice off that turkey. Yeah. A little tiny bit in there. And I'm going to turn these turkey's skin side up so that they can brown. You can see they're falling apart, which means they're done. And I just like to make sure that turkey skin get nice and crispy on there. So we're going to go back in. Get that seasoning off of there. Need that seasoning. Alright, so now I'm going to go back in to the oven. I'm going to give that, it's at 375. I'm going to go ahead and put it to 400. Now, you can see I got all that broth from that turkey. And that turkey, that's going to make the gravy. What I'm going to do next here is I'm going to start a gravy. The way you start a gravy is you take a nice little sauce pot. You add a little bit of butter. A nice little thing of butter. Get that heating. Might need a little bit more butter because depending on how much gravy you get there. We're gonna need a couple tablespoons of flour. It's called making a roux, a gravy roux. Of course, the rice is done already. As I told you before, I cooked it, reduced the heat, let it steam. As you can see, the little holes in there shows you that it's nice and steamed out. You can see the steam coming off of it. It's all nice and dried out. But as you keep the lid on there, keep it off to the side, it'll continue to dry out, so that'll be able to absorb all that good gravy. You don't want your rice sticky. I can't stand sticky rice. So now what I'm going to do here is I have me a whip here. The butter is melting. As the butter melts, I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of flour to that butter. Tablespoons of flour is good enough for what I'm doing. Get rid of that flour. And what I'm going to do is just whisk that all together. Whisk it in that butter. And what I'm going to do is I'm not having that on a high heat. It's just like a nice mellow heat. And what it does is it allows flour to cook out all that flour taste out of the flour. I'll tell you, I might need a little bit more butter because I want the roux to flow up pretty nicely. A little tiny bit more of that butter in there. Okay. I'll show you what this looks like in 1 second here. Those you never made homemade gravy. It just looked like a clump of stuff in here. But it's just flour and butter. And you can see it's able to move around a little bit there. And what I'm doing is that butter is just going to bubble up a little bit and just continue to cook that flour taste out of there nice and slow. So I have that on a low heat so that it doesn't burn. I don't want the gravy to brown. I want it to be a light gravy, so I just want it to cook. And as you can see, I'll let you see that real quick. See, it's just bubbling in there. Everything's bubbling, which means it's just cooking that flour taste out of there. And I'm going to let that go for a few minutes before I start adding the broth to it. Flour flour cook up out of there. Okay, now I'm going to start incorporating the broth from the turkey into the roux. I'm going to go ahead and crank that up a little bit more because I need to get that heat. Gravy actually does not really take on its best form until it comes to a boil. But you want to add a little bit, try to make sure you get it all whisked around. Voila, everything's in the pot. Let's take a look down in that pot and see what that looks like. See, that's what that gravy looks like. And you can just keep adding liquid till it gets to like a thinner consistency, and then you let it come to a nice boil and cook down. It'll thicken. The more it boils, the more it'll thicken up. So right now it's thickening up pretty good because it's still. I just added everything in, and I don't have a whole lot of liquid. I only used the liquid off there, but I'm gonna add a little bit of water to that. You can use chicken stock. Water's off. Why? You can use chicken stock with this. I got a question, honey. Why is the water off?
Because he might be fixing stuff. All right, right there, get a bottle of water.
Cut that, just cut it off.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to add some water to this because, as you can see, if you can bring the camera in a little bit, you can see it's boiling and it's getting thick. But I'm going to add a little bit more water to it because I want it to. I need it to cook for a while, and right now it's going to thicken itself up. As you can see, I want it to be smooth right now, like that, light and smooth. And as it cooks, it's going to thicken up. But I need it to cook all that flour, continue cooking that flour taste out, and incorporating all them juices in from that turkey. And that's going to be some nice turkey gravy. Okay, I have a little bit of cauliflower, broccoli, and a little zucchini here. I'm gonna saute that up. I just hit that with just a little tiny bit of butter in the pan. We're gonna hit that with a little bit of garlic, a little bit of fresh garlic. I use the freshly chopped garlic in the jar. It's minced. Just go ahead and do a nice little pinch of that, half a tablespoon of it. That's all you need. I'm also going to hit that with just a little bit of onion. They don't have to be cut off small because they're going in with the vegetables. And I'm going to go ahead and chuck some little bit of vegetables right in there. Hit that with a little bit of pepper. A little bit of this pink salt. And that's all she wrote. I'm going to let that saute up. Meanwhile, this gravy is doing well. It's boiling, it's reducing, it's cooking down. Alright. Got those vegetables sauteing up there. Got the gravy flowing, the rice is done. Turkey wings are browning. And in about a few minutes, I'll come back and show you what this dish looks like going together. All right. Time has done came and gone. I'm about to show you what this food look like. I'm about to pull the turkey wings out. The vegetables are done. I pulled them out. I got them sitting off to the side in the bowl. Lid's still on. It's still nice and hot. The gravy's still warm. The rice is warm. Everything is where it should be. Cutting all the fires off. Everything's off. I'm going to pull those turkey wings out of the oven so you can see what they look like after you uncover them and let them brown a little bit. Oh, yeah. There we go. And also, I'm going to take that some candy yams out because I put them back in so they can warm up a little bit. Pull everything out. And I'm going to put this stuff on a plate and show you exactly what it looks like. I'm going to take a nice plate here. I'll go in on one of these big old nice beautiful turkey wings. Oh, look at that, look at that. Look at that turkey wing. Nice and brown, both sides looking good, nice and tender. Wow, you can't beat that right there. Then we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that rice. Good. That rice, nice and dried out. Put a little bit of that on the plate. Not too much, just a little bit. See what that looks like. I'm also going to take some of these vegetables. And I'm going to hit that right here on the side there. And I'm going to go ahead into these yams. As you can see, they're all nice and candied and done to perfection. Go ahead and put two of those little patties on the plate there. So you can see what they look like. Voila, voila. I'm going to take a little bit of that syrup. And just smother that right on the top there so you can see what that look like. Rinse that utensil off. I'm going to need that to get some gravy out. We're going to take some of that nice turkey gravy. I'm going to hit that right on that rice right there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And there you have it. Turkey wings, yams, rice and gravy, and some vegetables.
Woo, look like Thanksgiving came early. Jesus.